Good morning, boys and girls. I hope you've had a wonderful week. Last week we talked about the beginning of the world and how God has the whole world in His hands. And we know that after God created the world, there was something that entered into the world called sin. And that entered into the hearts of Adam and Eve. And they stepped away from God and did not follow the wonderful plan that God had for them. And so because of that, our world became broken. But God had a plan to rescue us anyway. Today we're going to continue in our Old Testament with the story of Abraham. And we're going to see how God's plan of rescue started out. So let's begin again in our Jesus Storybook Bible. And today we're going to be talking about Abraham and Sarah. And this book, or this story in our Old Testament is called Son of Laughter. Years passed and things didn't get any better. People were still just as cruel and mean to one another. They still got sick and died. God's world was still full of tears. It was never meant to be like this. But God was getting ready to do something about it. He was going to make all the wrong things right, and He was going to do it through a family. Abraham, God said, "How many stars are there?" God was about to tell his friend a wonderful secret. "Let me see," Abraham said, rolling up his sleeves. "But have you ever tried counting the stars? Then you know how hard it is. 99, 993, 997, wait, 1, 2. Of course, he kept losing count. "Too many," Abraham said. Here's a better picture of Abraham and Sarah. And look at Sarah's eyes. You can see she has like wrinkles on her eyes. So that means she's a little bit older. So is Abraham. "Guess what?" God laughed. "I will give you so many children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, you won't be able to count them either." Abraham couldn't help giggling at such a wonderful idea, but he stopped himself. How could he have a family? Don't be silly. He didn't have any children, let alone grandchildren. He wiped away a tear. Anyway, it was far too late for him to start having children at his age. He was 99. What could God mean? "Abraham," God said, "believe me." And then God told Abraham his secret rescue plan. "Abraham, I will make your family very big," God promised, "until one day your family will come to number more than even all the stars in the sky." Abraham looked up at the dark night sky thick with stars. "You will be my special family, my people, and through you, everyone on earth will be blessed." It was an incredible promise. God was going to rescue the world through Abraham's family. One of his great-great-great-grandchildren would be the child, the promised one, the rescuer. We know who that is, Jesus. "But it's too wonderful," Abraham said. "How can it be true?" "Is anything too good to be true?" God asked. "Is anything too wonderful for me?" So Abraham trusted what God said more than what his eyes could see, and he believed. Now when Sarah heard God's promise, she just laughed to herself. But it wasn't a happy laugh. It had tears in it. She'd always wanted a baby. Could her dream come true? Could she really have a baby when she was 90 years old? No, of course not. Don't be silly. It was far too late. Sarah didn't believe God could do what he promised. She had forgotten that when God says something, it's as good as done. Of course, it was as easy for God to give her a baby son as it was for him to make all the stars in the sky. And look what happened. There's Abraham and Sarah and their baby. Sure enough, 9 months later, just as God had promised, Sarah gave birth to a baby boy. They named him Isaac, which means son of laughter. And Sarah laughed, but this time it was a glorious, happy laugh. Her dream had come true. God would do as he promised. He would always look after Abraham's family, his special people. And one day, God would send another baby to a promised girl. But this baby would bring laughter to the whole world. This baby would be everyone's dream come true. And we know that that baby that God promised was the baby Jesus. And he did come to rescue us all, to invite us all into his family so that we could be with him forever and in heaven. And we know that even though the world right now, and always has been since the fall, since sin entered into the world through Adam and Eve, the world has been a broken place. And there's times whenever we have sadness, there's times when we have death, there's times whenever we're angry, there's times when we don't understand. But what we can take hope in knowing is that Jesus came as a baby and he grew up and he went into ministry and taught all of his disciples and us how to love each other. And he died upon the cross and he rose again. And he did that for all of us that we could be with him in heaven forever. So we can be like Abraham and Sarah and have laughter and joy in our heart. And today, as we end Children's Chapel, we will sing another song with Sam. And this song is called, I've Got the Joy, Joy, Joy Down in My Heart. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. And now here is Sam, and let's sing with him.
Hi everybody, this is Sam, the music minister, and I'm so glad to be here with you, wherever you are, in your home, probably. I'm in my office in the church basement, but we can still be together and sing along, and I want to sing this song with you called I've Got the Joy, 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 Joy Down in My Heart. And here's why I like this song, particularly these days, because even if we can't be together as a church in the building, Jesus is still with you, because guess where Jesus lives? In your heart. That's where he lives. That is Jesus's home. He lives in your heart, and he is there with you and for you whenever you need him. And so that gives me a lot of joy, knowing that even if we can't be together and worship God as a church body, Jesus is still in your body and my body. I have a 2-year-old named Auden, and he said the other day, he already knows this, he said, "Daddy, Jesus, heart." And then one day he was in a funny mood and he said, "Daddy, Jesus, belly, crazy." And I thought that was really funny that he said that Jesus lives in his belly. That's not what we're going to sing. We're going to sing that Jesus lives in our hearts. And because Jesus lives in our hearts, there is so much joy in our hearts, because there is joy wherever there is Jesus. And so, all right, you have to sing with me, and you have to sing loud. So wherever you are, just let it all out. Here it goes. I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart. I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart to stay. And I'm so happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart. And I'm so happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart. All right, here's another thing that comes with Jesus being in our hearts. We have the peace that passes understanding down in our hearts. Ready? Here it goes. I've got the peace that passes understanding down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart. I've got the peace that passes understanding down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart to stay. And I'm so happy. Then I'm so happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart. And I'm so happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart. All right, this one is a doozy. This one is, I've got the wonderful love of my blessed Redeemer down in my heart. Say that with me. I've got the wonderful love of my blessed Redeemer. Here we go. 1, 2. I've got the wonderful love of my blessed Redeemer down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart. I've got the wonderful love of my blessed Redeemer down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart to stay. And I'm so happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart. And I'm so happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart. Okay, now I don't know if you remember this, but I am from a city called Boston in Massachusetts. And in Boston, people talk differently. They have funny accents. Like they say things like, when they want to say, I parked the car in Harvard Yard, they say, I parked the car in Harvard Yard. So when they sing this song, they sing, I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my hat. Okay? Kind of sounds like a hat that you wear, but they're not talking about that kind of hat. They're talking about the hat that's beating inside of you where Jesus lives. So, I want you, this is silly, but I want you to sing that you've got the joy, 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 joy down in your hat. I want you to sing it for the people of Boston, okay? Because that's how they will understand things. Ready? Here we go. I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my hat. Where? Down in my hat. Where? Down in my hat. I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my hat. Where? Down in my hat to stay. And I'm so happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my hat. And I'm so happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my hat. All right, now just sing really loud. I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart. I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart to stay. And I'm so happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart. And I'm so happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart. Thanks for singing along with me.